So, what's the purpose of our existence? I mean, it's a massive question, one we've been asking forever. But what if the answer isn't some huge cosmic secret? What if it's actually a practical formula for how we live our lives every single day? In this explainer, we're going to dig into a really fascinating idea that gives a radical new perspective on that very old question. Our journey starts, like so many do, with a question. A really, really big one. You've been there, right? Lying awake in the middle of the night, just staring at the ceiling thinking, why am I even here? What is the point of all this? That search for meaning, it's just a core part of being human. And this is where our source material takes a really sharp turn. It says that this whole question is, well, foolish. Yeah, that's a pretty bold statement. So what's the logic behind calling our deepest existential question foolish? Okay, think about it this way. The idea is that our existence is basically a cosmic accident, just pure chance. So we weren't put here for some grand purpose. Instead, the very fact that we are here is what kicks off our need to find a purpose. It's a really subtle shift, but it changes everything. And that's the crucial pivot. We're being invited to just stop looking for some cosmic why, and instead start focusing on a much more practical how. It's not about trying to figure out some grand design. It's about building a good life with the cards we've been dealt. All right, so if the goal is to live well, how do we do that? To answer that, our source introduces this fundamental cycle that, it argues, pretty much runs our entire lives. Now, a lot of us hear the word samsara and we think of the Buddhist concept of rebirth, life after life. But here, it's being reframed as something much more immediate. It's the psychological roller coaster we're on every single day, bouncing back and forth between pain and pleasure. And this isn't just some abstract philosophy. It's super practical. Think about it. The only reason food tastes so good is because you first felt the pain of hunger. The pleasure of warmth only exists because you felt the discomfort of being cold. They're totally linked. But, and this is key, it goes the other way too. Pleasure can, and does, lead right back to pain. Let's break this down because it's a trap we all fall into. So, you get something you want. Awesome, that's pleasure. But that good feeling, it vanishes, like almost instantly. So what do? We start looking for the next hit, something new, something stronger. And that endless chase, that constant craving for more, well, that itself becomes a form of suffering. So if our lives are just constantly running on this cycle, what does that actually look like in practice? What's the real breakdown between these different states? And this is where things get really interesting. This framework doesn't just talk in theories. It gives us a surprisingly specific and maybe a little sobering ratio for the human experience. And here it is. According to our source, life breaks down like this. About 70% is suffering, and that's everything from a tiny annoyance to deep pain. Only 10% is that pure, unadulterated joy. And then there's this crucial 20% right in the middle. Peace. Now, here is the absolute kicker. Our natural instinct is to try and maximize that little 10% slice of joy, right? But remember, the cycle we just talked about, that endless chase for fleeting pleasure is exactly what fuels the suffering machine. The more we desperately chase that joy, the more we create desire and dissatisfaction, which actually makes that 70% chunk even bigger. Okay, I know this might sound a little bleak, but it's actually not, because once you understand the ratio, you can totally change your strategy. If chasing joy is a losing game, what's the alternative? The answer is hiding in plain sight. It's that 20%. The real goal isn't to get more joy. It's to expand that state of peace, that quiet, stable middle ground that's neither the high of pleasure nor the low of pain. That's where a real, lasting sense of well-being is found. So, how do we do it? It really comes down to taking ownership of your own mind. It's about finding your personal balance and, this is a big one, stop blaming other people for your suffering. It's about facing challenges head-on and, most importantly, pulling your attention away from past regrets and future anxieties, and just planting yourself firmly in the here and now. When you start to shift your focus from chasing pleasure to cultivating peace, it has one last, massive implication. It completely rewrites our understanding of what it means to find paradise. And this just nails the final takeaway. Forget about waiting for some reward or punishment in the afterlife. Heaven and hell aren't destinations you arrive at later. They're realities you are actively building or destroying for yourself in this life, right now. It suddenly becomes so simple, doesn't it? Heaven is the quality of your relationships. It's creating harmony with the people right next to you, your family, your friends. And hell? That's the conflict, the fighting, the harm you cause in those very same relationships. It's all happening in real time. So, in the end, the meaning of life isn't some answer you find. It's a reality you build. By understanding this pleasure-pain cycle and aiming to expand our peace instead of just our pleasure, we go from being passengers asking why to being architects asking how. And the final question isn't whether you'll get to heaven. It's what kind of heaven or hell are you building for yourself and for everyone around you today?